Imagine holding your breath, not for 30 seconds, not for 2 minutes, but for over 24 minutes. Sounds impossible, right? Well, someone actually did it, and that's just one of the jaw-dropping world records we're about to dive into today. These aren't your ordinary, fastest mile, or tallest person records. These are feats so extreme, so mind-bending, you'll be wondering how on earth they were even possible. So buckle up, because from gravity-defying stunts to outrageous human endurance, we're counting down world records that should be impossible. And trust me, you'll want to stick around until the end, because the final record is so unbelievable, it might just break your brain. Record number 1. The longest time holding breath underwater. Let's start with the one I teased earlier. Most of us struggle to hold our breath for even a minute. 2 minutes feels like torture. But in 2016, a Spanish diver named Alex Segura managed to stay underwater without breathing for 24 minutes and 3 seconds. Now, how is that even possible? Well, this wasn't just raw lung power. Before the attempt, Segura pre-oxygenated, basically inhaling pure oxygen for several minutes to saturate his blood with as much oxygen as possible. Then, through extreme training and total body control, he managed to suppress his natural urge to breathe for almost half an hour. To put that into perspective, that's longer than an average sitcom episode without taking a single breath. Mind equals blown. Record number 2. The tallest stack of amaze. From life-threatening endurance to candy. Yes, candy. Sometimes impossible records are also hilariously ridiculous. Take the record for the tallest stack of amaze. Most people can barely stack 3 before they tumble. But in 2021, a British man named Will Cutbill managed to stack 5 amaze on top of each other. Just 5. But here's the catch: if you've ever held an you know they're round, smooth, and totally unstable. Stacking them is like balancing bowling balls on top of each other. It's one of those records that sounds silly until you try it yourself. Spoiler alert: you'll probably fail miserably. Record number 3. Most hot dogs eaten in 10 minutes. Now let's talk about eating. Competitive eating itself feels impossible, but Joey Chestnut, the undisputed king of hot dog contests, has taken it to levels you wouldn't believe. In 2021, Chestnut set the record by eating 76 hot dogs and buns in just 10 minutes. That's more than 7 hot dogs per minute, or basically 1 every 8 seconds. Think about it. Each hot dog with a bun weighs around 5 ounces. Multiply that by 76, and Chestnut ate 23 pounds of food in one sitting. That's the size of a small child. His stomach must be operating on cheat codes. Record number 4. The longest plank. Alright, let's shift from stuffing yourself to sheer discipline. Have you ever tried holding a plank? A minute burns. 2 minutes feels like your abs are ripping apart. But George Hood, a 62-year-old former Marine, managed to hold a plank for 8 hours, 15 minutes, and 15 seconds. Yes, you heard that right. Over 8 straight hours of plank position. While most of us collapse after 90 seconds, Hood turned himself into a literal human statue. To train, he reportedly did over 2,000 sit-ups and 700 push-ups every day. At that point, your core isn't just strong, it's basically indestructible. Record number 5. Fastest 100-meter sprint on all fours. Running on 2 legs is hard enough. But in Japan, a man named Katsumi Tamakoshi set the record for the fastest 100 meters running on all fours, clocking in at just 15.86 seconds. Picture this: sprinting like a gorilla down a track while maintaining balance, speed, and coordination. It's not just athleticism, it's borderline evolutionary throwback. And honestly, it might be the weirdest Olympic sport that doesn't exist yet. Record number 6. Longest fingernails ever. Ready for something a little creepy? Let's talk fingernails. The longest fingernails ever recorded on a pair of hands belonged to Lee Redmond from the USA. By 2008, her nails measured a combined length of 8.65 meters. That's over 28 feet long. She hadn't cut them since 1979. Just imagine trying to type, cook, or even open a door with fingernails longer than a car. Unfortunately, Redmond lost them in a car accident later, but while they lasted, they were one of the strangest human records ever. Record number 7. Longest time spent without sleeping. Sleep deprivation is no joke. Most people start hallucinating after just a couple of days without rest. But in 1964, a high school student named Randy Gardner managed to stay awake for 11 days and 25 minutes straight. That's 264 hours without a single wink of sleep. During the experiment, Gardner experienced severe mood swings, memory loss, and trouble concentrating, but somehow survived without long-term damage. Doctors today warn against trying anything remotely similar. This record is so dangerous, Guinness doesn't even track it anymore. Record number 8. Most bees on a human body. If you're scared of bees, look away now. In 2015, a Chinese beekeeper named Gao Bingguo set the record for covering himself with 1.1 million bees, weighing about 240 pounds in total. Yes, he was stung several times, but he survived, and the record remains one of the most terrifying things you can imagine. That's not just bravery, that's superhero-level pain tolerance. Record number 9. Longest distance swam under ice. Cold water swimming is brutal enough. But swimming under ice? That's insanity. In 2017, Stig Severinsen, nicknamed the man who doesn't breathe, swam 250 feet under solid ice on a single breath. Wearing only a swimsuit, no wetsuit, Severinsen pushed his body to the absolute limits of endurance. Between hypothermia, drowning, and complete disorientation under the ice, the risks were astronomical. Yet he came out alive, proving once again that human limits are way beyond what we think. Record number 10. Most t-shirts worn at once. Let's lighten the mood. In 2022, a man from Malaysia named Sanath Bandera set the record for wearing the most t-shirts at once, 257 layers in total. Imagine walking around with 257 shirts on. You'd basically become a marshmallow. The final outfit weighed over 200 pounds, and he needed help just to put it all on. It's not life-threatening like some other records, but it's absolutely hilarious. Record number 11. Most lightning strikes survived. Here's one that sounds like it belongs in a comic book. A U.S. park ranger named Roy Sullivan was struck by lightning not once, not twice, but 7 separate times throughout his life. And he survived every single one. Statistically, the odds of being struck once in your lifetime are about 1 in 15,000. 7 times? That's astronomically impossible. Sullivan eventually became known as the human lightning rod. Honestly, if anyone deserved superhero status, it was him. Record number 12. The longest kiss. Here's one for the romantics. In 2013, a couple from Thailand set the record for the longest kiss ever, lasting 58 hours, 35 minutes, and 58 seconds. That's nearly 2.5 days of non-stop kissing. No breaks for food, no naps, not even bathroom breaks without staying lip-locked. The dedication and probably sore lips behind this record is almost as impressive as the record itself. Record number 13. Heaviest weight pulled by human teeth. Sometimes strength records go in directions you'd never expect. A Georgian strongman named George Chrisin once pulled an airplane weighing 260 tons using just his teeth. That's right, he clamped down on a rope with his jaw and dragged an actual plane. Most of us would chip a tooth on a popcorn kernel, and here's this guy pulling jumbo jets with his mouth. Record number 14. Longest distance on a skateboard in 24 hours. Skateboarding is tiring enough for a few hours, but Andrew Andrus set the record for the longest distance skateboarded in 24 hours, traveling 261 miles non-stop. That's basically skating from New York City to Washington, D.C. in a single day. Talk about endurance on wheels. Record number 15. Most Rubik's Cubes solved underwater. And finally, the one I promised would break your brain. In 2020, a man named Sri Ray from India solved 30 Rubik's Cubes, underwater, in a single breath. Yes, you heard that correctly. Solving one cube can take most of us several minutes. This guy solved 30, all while holding his breath underwater. The focus, the lung capacity, and the sheer speed, it feels like a glitch in the Matrix. So there you have it, from bee suits to breath-holding superhumans, these are the world records that should be impossible, yet somehow, people pulled them off. Which one blew your mind the most? Personally, I still can't wrap my head around the guy solving 30 Rubik's Cubes underwater. If you enjoyed this wild ride, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and check out our other videos for more unbelievable stories from around the world. And hey, who knows? Maybe one day, you'll be the one setting a record that seems impossible today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.